Well, it's great to see you today.
Yeah, likewise as well. It's always great to see you. Come on.
Talk about our boy Moreno. He's
Moreno?
gone.
I know he's
They
gone.
bought
I
him.
know. They bought it. I mean, $6 million. That's amazing.
They
right?
saw what he was worth and potential.
Yeah.
I always worry about that. Like you find these raw diamonds that come in.
Yeah.
You know, we've got others on the squad too that come in. And it takes them like the first year they're kind of rough, they're getting you, and then second year they start showing their stuff, and they also became real for us.
Yeah.
Like we depend on these guys.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be because we're not, like I think in the Premier League you get people at their peak, right? And then you get to decide like, is there somebody else out there that's at their peak that potentially to bring in, and that person maybe that's been with the team for a while is maybe it makes sense to sell. Son, for example, might be a good example. Where he was not going to feature in the way that he had featured for Tottenham for so long. Right. Yeah. In MLS, we want to be that team where people are coming through and continue to increase their career, not just like people on the downside of their career. My name is Robert Rice. I'm the VP of technology for the Portland Timbers and Providence Park here in Portland, Oregon. We're a MLS soccer team, a professional team here in North America. And Providence Park is almost 100-year-old stadium. We celebrate 100 years next year. Venue in the downtown Portland, Oregon area. And we hold events like concerts, soccer games, American football, a number of other sports here at the stadium.
And this year you're celebrating.
All right, that's correct. This year we're celebrating our 50th with the Portland Timbers, which is an exciting anniversary for us. Truly a special year. Been a great opportunity to bring a lot of players and fans back, over the years to kind of, experience kind of the joy and atmosphere that we have here in the stadium. It's been great to be part of.
You're also celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the first championship.
That's correct as well. Yes. And 15 years of the league. I mean, we got a lot of
nice time frames.
Exactly. That's true. So yes, 2015 was an amazing year. Yeah. So, I mean, data's, by far and away the lifeblood of our organization, both on the business side and on the soccer side of what we do. Any time that we think about that data, we're thinking about, securing and protecting it. A data breach on the soccer side would, be catastrophic in, areas like competitiveness. That's could be player information, scouting data, et cetera. And on the business side, we value our fans. We collect information to go ahead and make that experience here at the stadium as best as possible. And within that, those that data, we want to go ahead and safeguard it. And so for us, that's a really important aspect, I guess, when it comes to a data breach is making sure that we have that personal information, that business continuity, all those kind of things are taken into account.
It's a lot there to try to protect, though.
It is a lot to protect. Yes, absolutely. This partnership has been around now for 2 or 3 years, and it's been wonderful for us. We really appreciate that, both what Covenant and Acronis bring to the table. Our IT environment has both matured and changed quite a bit over those intervening years. When we first started our partnership, we were on the back side of the pandemic, and so we had a lot of people that were working from home. We still had some on-site assets, and still continue to do so when it comes to virtual servers and other operations here at the stadium, but that's greatly reduced over the last couple of years. We're very, tied in with Microsoft core services like Office 365, Azure, CRM, and that's something that we know that Covenant Tech has a very deep, technological expertise in, and integration with Microsoft, which is really valuable for us. In securing all that data, and whether it be in the cloud, whether it be on-prem, is of paramount importance for us. And existing technologies that we had prior to this were either time-consuming to go ahead and implement, to double-check, et cetera. I think one of the nicest things about the Acronis platform for us has really been that data security piece, and not exactly a set and forget, but it's something that we can, because the reporting is so robust, because we have a single pane of glass to check for on-prem and cloud environments. That's been really, really nice, where we can, dive into the platform, understand what's being backed up, if there is some backup challenges or maybe we had a load go down for some reason or something like that, immediately we can go ahead and get that back up, spin it back up in a virtual environment, or go ahead and recover from it. And so that for us has given a peace of mind that I haven't had in many, many years. When it comes to our disaster recovery plans, when it comes to our backup, and I don't think it's hyperbole to say that it helps me, sleep at night. Certainly.
It's true. It's true. You have a lot of evolution in
Absolutely.
technology that's going on right now. A lot of it's moving toward AI.
Correct.
A lot of it's new data types. A lot of it's how we use the data we have. And there's all the systems you're evolving. Like you said, you went from a lot of local and into the cloud side. That's a lot for a company to take on.
It is.
And also manage both business and sports side.
Yeah. No, I think that's one of the things that's you'd be abundantly clear. I mean, one of the things that's interesting of working in a sports environment and kind of sports team is you get a lot of sports analogies when it comes to our work environment and how we interact both with our partners and with other members of the business staff. But, it truly is a team environment, right? Just like soccer, everybody kind of brings something to the table. That's what makes a successful team. And so we've had a huge value, I think, from our partnership with both Covenant and Acronis. And I think that the pieces of helping us mature on the Microsoft platform have been really ideal.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that. I think we've created, you've created, but we've been helpful in that. Is that a new foundation? Because we had a foundation probably 4 years ago, like you mentioned. It's all evolved. Now we're ready to go into what we want to do going forward. Right? We can do that leveraging the platforms of Acronis and such. So that's good points.
Absolutely.
I'm Tim Shad. I'm the owner and president founder of Covenant Technology Solutions. We're an Oregon-based company. We also help out with many organizations throughout the Northwest and the U.S. We're proud to be a Timbers partner. I'm a lifelong Timbers fan, as they have learned. Played with Clive Charles, played with many of the Timbers, like Jim Kelly, etc. But so that sports side, the attribute has been nice, but Acronis has brought us into the team aspect part with people like Robert and behind the scenes over here, where we're able to kind of do what we really do well. We brought some characteristics and technologies and skill sets to the team that they don't have the manpower for or the expertise for. We're a Microsoft-centered shop. As he mentioned, we do a lot with the Microsoft hardening, which is the security side of platforms. So that's either Microsoft 365 or Azure or other AI capabilities. We also can bring talent in regarding all those aspects. And so I think that's been the real mesh with us. With Acronis, we also use Acronis across all of our customers. And so we find, as they have done, they've utilized the stack pretty well. Acronis continues to build that stack out with more feature sets. And so we're able to kind of see that story and latch on that story for our better successes. The Timbers are using it, naturally as you would for your server backups and also your recoveries. The 365 identity, backups and all 365 data for SharePoint, all that kind of stuff. So, which is excellent. So it does a good job. And I like to hear him say he can sleep better at night knowing that stuff's happening. Also, if he had a need, he knows he can engage us to help with those type of aspects and do recoveries. That's what we do.
Yeah. We are always trying to implement kind of a 3-2-1 backup strategy, right? I think that's, has certainly been the goal across all of our workloads, right? And anytime you can go ahead and, we talked a little bit about how much change we've had and over the intervening 3 or 4 years, migrating from on-prem assets to the cloud. And often I think that when people get to the cloud, they think, hey, Microsoft's handling it all, right? This is great. Just, I don't need to worry about it. It's there, but many people don't even know, is that multi-site, right? Is if it's in a data center, right? I love that we're in US West too. It's nice and close. Yeah. From a performance standpoint, at the same time, there's you never know what's going to happen, right? And there have been certain instances of, on all major cloud infrastructure where people lose data that they anticipated being there, right? And it's unrecoverable for one reason or another: hardware failure, accidental deletion, something going on within the system. And while we trust that platform, deeply, it is nice to have something like Acronis that gives us a totally different vendor, a totally different cloud infrastructure, a totally different location within the United States for us that allows us to meet those goals as part of that 3-2-1 backup. Management is also easy, right? Where now I'm managing both those on cloud backups and my on-prem assets, and they're all being managed within the same system, right? Where before we had multiple systems, we had Veeam, we had a number of different back solutions that were in native Windows backup solutions, et cetera, synchronizations, et cetera, that were happening to go ahead and have that data, and to put it under kind of that 3-2-1. We're managing a lot of like offline distress and all sorts of stuff. It was challenging. And I think even beyond that part of that challenge was that regulatory piece, right? So now you have to report on it at the end of the year. Right. How are you doing this? And so within the Acronis framework, it's extremely easy for me to generate the reports that I need for our cybersecurity insurance, for our audits, for all these kind of things that we want to do internally, across the board, and show all the data protection that platform provides. So that piece to me is really huge. And then I think then just beyond straight backup, you have some of the additional kind of advanced features that Acronis brings to the table are really nice. So some of the ability to spin up your VM in the cloud, in their cloud, right? So again, if we're having difficulty with an on-prem situation, or we're having problems with our VMs in Microsoft for some reason, now we can go ahead and spin them up in a tertiary location for us. Yep. That allows for, data recovery and that, on time, that kind of failover that we need. Because for us, nights and weekends, that's when we got people in the stadium, right? And we have a 3-4 hour window for our fans that prior to the game and during the match itself, that we're there. And if I can spin something up in 4 hours, that's great. It seems great, on paper, but the reality is we just missed an entire event.
Yeah. Yeah. The SLA gets much slower or quicker timer 100% when it happens. Yeah. The other thing you didn't talk about, but I know you think about, is like the encryption of the data 100%, and having it encrypted as it's in data rest, or it's going to the cloud, or as it's in passive mode, et cetera. So Acronis handles, all that for you too, which absolutely helps when someone tries to tap in and do some breach. I imagine you guys have cybersecurity insurance. And so some of the things you have to always practice is when an event might occur, and having backups in those cases is vital. 100%. And ones you can trust that aren't compromised. Yeah. Right. So,
and I think that's part of the value proposition, honestly, is that our cybersecurity insurance over the last 3 or 4 years has stayed the same or reduced, year after year, versus, in type of organizations, you see a lot of them increasing, right?
Yep. So about 40%. Yeah.
So we've been able to avoid a lot of that, which has been
that's a good point. Leveraging a group like Acronis helps your strategy, because there's lots of things in your strategy. But helps you also attest to when they ask what you're doing for security posturing, exactly, that you're doing all the things, and you can prove all that stuff. I won't get into all the things that happen when someone gets ransomed, but they ask a lot of those questions, and you already have them ready. That's wonderful.
Yeah, which is huge. And I think to that point, I mean, so for us, disaster recovery is a massive part of that cybersecurity pillar, right? It's a great foundational place. I think that's why we're excited about Acronis, is that, they make backup the foundation of everything that they do. Everything's layered on top of that. All the RMM, all the cybersecurity, those additional pieces come from that backup foundation. And I think you can do a lot there, because if you know that you can go back to a backup copy, you can be more nimble. Like you can take more risks. Not necessarily cybersecurity risks, but you like development risk, or whatever. It's like, hey, I can go back to this. And then from a cyber perspective, we've seen that console grow more and more. And I think that's one of the things that we're excited to work with you guys on, is this addition of some of the tools and security that they bring to the table. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing that we've enjoyed partnering with Covenant Technology on, is the cybersecurity aspect of securing the Microsoft cloud, because it's much different than securing an on-prem type of environment. Totally true. Where, that's kind of the goes back to the firewall, and you got your castle, and you're trying to protect the things that are inside of it. Once you're in the cloud, now all of your assets are accessible almost anywhere. And so then now, how do you go ahead and start to restrict and protect that asset, track that asset? And there's so many different things that are happening in the Microsoft cloud that change from a management console perspective to a capabilities standpoint, that staying ahead of and working to go ahead and secure those platforms becomes a real challenge, right? Because there may be a piece of the platform that you don't even know exists, that is now available to you to go ahead and secure, or to utilize as a tool in your arsenal. So that part has been really nice to be able to work with Covenant on that.
Thank you. That's something we take pride in. We take the time you may not have.
Right.
We're Microsoft in their offices.
Right.
We're in their meetings early for Microsoft.
Yeah.
Knowing about the back ends, all those changes you mentioned, that's a real thing.
Yep.
So we built products to allow you to secure your back end, to protect your users' data, your endpoint data, all the other capabilities that might be telemetry for a bad actor to come into.
Absolutely.
but also, best practices for your compliance side, all those aspects. So it's very important.
When we started this kind of like the idea of the team up program, right? Just a little bit of a crapshoot. We were going to get kind of on the team up side. We knew about some of the Acronis capabilities, but there was this idea of like teaming up with a local partner. And, the MSP space there's a lot of players, right? But I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I think the reason that we like Acronis is a couplefold. One is the people. Everybody from top to bottom, everybody we've met has been wonderful. Yeah, truly great people to work with, but also extremely technical. Like their technical skills are amazing. So on that level, it's been a joy to work with them. And additionally, I think, and this is really important for us when we look at partners, is the integrity. Yeah. And so we really feel that Covenant Tech has, an unbelievable sense of integrity in terms of all the business that you guys do and the way that you want to manage your business, the way that you want to interact with your partners, and with Microsoft, with us. So for that perspective, like it's really been something that has been really a great experience here for the last couple of years. So from that perspective, it's something that we went in with, in honesty, a tiny bit of intrepidation.
Right.
And so, but it's been a great experience at this point. And I think that opportunity to get to know you guys, to delve into the platform, to go through that journey with you in terms of how our Microsoft environment is, how our on-prem is kind of moved to the cloud, has been, it's like you said, it's laying the foundation for more journeys to come.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. And I would reciprocate that. I mean, number one, we have to have this wonderful team up program to bring us together. So thank you for Acronis for that. I'd echo what you said about the people at Acronis, everyone from Pat Hurley to Dan Havens to, I won't name all of them, but there's many, many people behind the scenes, and the Timbers. Allison's in our back corner here, who is fantastic. And you've got many more of those account as well. Working with you has been a gem. I love that we're both like geekish in a way of technology and sport and the Timbers and history. And I've been able to relay a few facts to you that you didn't know and about the Timbers history and some of that soccer past. That's unique, right? You didn't know that going to team up, that you have a partner that also had a person that did play with and loves soccer as much as you do. I think the other aspects is we've been able to have and celebrate with you guys. You have celebrations on the Timber side. In my personal life, we've had my 60-year birthday here, thanks to Allison and all the crew, in a suite. And then we've also are going to have my wife and I's 38th anniversary this Saturday here.
Amazing.
So, now she's not too happy, and I'm getting her to go to ringside first. That'll make her happy. Then we're coming here afterwards. But it's just the place, the culture, being around Timbers, all the Timber family. It's always great. Very good people. So we're excited about the next 3 years that we can do together and what we can accomplish. Same with Acronis as well. We're getting versed quite a more in their true, because they're really evolving their practice, and we'll keep you involved with that. One thing we can do to improve that. And like I said, whenever you need something, we're here for you. We appreciate you guys' partnership on that. We came to the Timbers to work with you guys. Acronis had already been installed. And so we got to understand how you chose what you chose, how you installed and managed your business. And we saw that as a good thing. As they continue, Acronis, to evaluate and create better product, that's where the other spheres come into play. I think, Robert and I will work in the future on, how that evolves us, how we want to utilize the Acronis partnership and deploy things to help make that set up for that. We're certified in Acronis, so we can do probably a much better job of bringing that stuff to you, which when invited that. We've been excited also about the AI sides of things that you guys are working on, what we can help out with that. And then our Fortify program for hardening, your 365 and Azure side, deploying those things, just creating a stronger, enterprise for you all.
Yeah. When I look back at our partnership, both with, Covenant Tech and then Acronis, I think that, there's some really deep and fundamental, benefits for us as an organization and just some positive things. One is, that side of, IT, how to say this, like IT has always been, kind of goes through waves or kind of volumes of like where cybersecurity, how much effort you're kind of putting into that. Yeah. And, sometimes it's new systems, sometimes it's migrating to new, responding to new threats, et cetera. There's a lot that can happen there. I think that for us, this partnership has really allowed us to focus on our core projects, right? Around the stadium with the team. Taking a lot off of a plate where we were spending a lot of hours on some of the things, that would come down to some of that backup and recovery piece, to go ahead and making sure, that we had that at such a high level. Now we know we have a system in place that allows us to maintain that, with very little effort on our part, right? And allows us to roll in new, either applications, workloads, et cetera, relatively smoothly. And then I think there's that next part of the journey that we talked about is, kind of that hardening of the Microsoft 365 and our endpoints. And, we work very hard on making sure that we are diligent in patch management, but I see this as an area of potential improvement for us, just in terms of how do we become more efficient at that, right? And I think Acronis may be the tool that allows us to do that. And those are the kind of things that I see us, utilizing, both the partnership and our platform, together to go ahead and, take your expertise at Covenant Technologies with, managing these things at scale, with managing across multiple businesses, and, helping us do that so that we can then focus on the things that make us unique.
I love that. Yeah. We love to take, like you said, the example of all the customers we work for and the other use cases of the family we have of those type of partnerships and bring them back to an organization and say, here, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? And lead you in that evolution that you want to take in your business. And we already have done that pretty well. And we'll continue doing that where we have this good candor, good conversation around, hey, I was thinking about this. What do you think? And so walking around and like you showed me the other day, some of the AI stuff. It's fantastic stuff. We love that. The more we get fed about what you're dealing with in your industry and your business, et cetera, the more we can bring to the table. So we'll continue that stuff. The Acronis platform does have more ability along with the Covenant Technology Solutions, from, like you said, patching and monitoring and venting and all that stuff. There's some new products coming out too that we're taking care of. We'll do that with AI. Right. So leveraging what we can to kind of keep the low touch perspective, but so the high security perspective. And so I agree with all that stuff.
Yeah. And I think it comes back to figuring out the ways to put the effort into the things that matter most, right? Because at the end of the day, we have so much on our plates that it's constantly juggling, trying to figure out where, when I spend this time, have my staff spend their time on these things, what is going to go ahead and protect the business? What's going to help push the business forward? What's going to, give us a competitive edge? And what's going to deliver the best fan experience, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's why we're doing this, right? It's not IT for IT's sake,
right?
It's, we're constantly trying to use these IT systems to further benefit. And so, if we can go ahead and use technologies like AI, to go ahead and help with that, to help us address problems more quickly, to identify those problems, to let us come up with some sort of comparison to say, hey, this is where we think that the benefits are going to be happening for you as an organization, because this is really going to touch, so many endpoints or so many users versus, this over here. That those are the kind of things that I think really are important. And I see that's the future that's going to be coming. And I think the other thing that you and I've talked actually quite a bit about is just AI in general and how these models need lots of data, right? So I think kind of coming back to, Acronis and, their value proposition is securing that data is becoming that much more important. Like you keep data, we're going to want to keep more and more data, right? So having that, positional data that we have on the soccer pitch, having that for the history of the club, which we do, is very important for us. But keeping that around, protecting it, and then making use of it is really, really important. So I want to spend most of my time on the making use of it. Right. And so having that protection part, having the, those types of things, handled by, good partners is really important for us.
Fantastic. I think some of the things that Acronis can also help us with now is as we gain and grow that data is where does it really need to live? Because there's a cost to where it gets stored, right?
Absolutely.
When it's in Acronis cloud, there's a fee structure there. If it's historical data we want to analyze, we can get it in culture versus hot story, like different places, right? So we can be helpful in analyzing that data for you and looking at alternatives where that should actually be placed for you. So you still have it. It's backed up. It's there. And then also the archive side. There's a backup portion, there's an archive portion. Right. That's kind of the eyes that we have. And then, going back to security and cyber, CIS 18 controls, maintaining those for you so you can showcase to all the people you need to showcase that to, that you're hitting all the spots, you're doing all these activities, and you're measuring it, and what's left to do. And there's always an evolution, right?
Right.
But that you have a good firm like us behind you to know that you have that. And that's another piece where you say, listen, I don't have to hire that team.
Yep.
I got these guys doing it.
Yep.
I'll leverage that.
Yep.
We'll meet on this and we'll advertise this. So very good.
Yeah. And from that cybersecurity standpoint, I mean, it's always changing, right? I mean, it's just every year there's something else coming out in the rules, and it's nice to have frameworks like NIST or CIS 18 to start with. And it's always a journey, even while you're on this framework, right? Exactly. Let alone, the new additions that are coming to the framework. So with you guys in there on a daily basis, in the frameworks, it's great for somebody like myself that has to be familiar with them, but I may not be, living it on the data.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
It's been amazing, right? I mean, this club is, an important part of my life. It's an important part of the, the fabric of Portland. I think to your point, the 2015, championship. I remember taking my whole family out there to Columbus to watch that game.
That's great.
Yeah, it was fun. It was incredible. I mean, it just, it's now part of our family lore, right? Mm-hmm. And so that kind of connection and that connective tissue, I think, is what I love so much about the Timbers and this organization, how we create a space within the Portland community for joy. Yeah. And this ability to communally come together. And so to that point, the IT side of that feels sometimes ancillary, but without it, none of that happens. Right. Yeah. And so that's the part that I find is really fascinating. Additionally, 25 years ago, when you were in IT, cybersecurity was just not even, I mean, it was passwords or something, but it was kind of an afterthought, right? It was this idea of people, there was some very small, kind of viruses that might get around.
Yeah, it was just malware and antivirus is all I had to worry about.
Exactly. Right. So kind of basic backup principles.
And it's a tape work that night.
Exactly right. That's right. Exactly right. Yeah. In terms of the data. This huge evolution both in terms of just connectiveness, what we do with the data, and some things still change. I remember, back even in 2001, we had databases here that were tracking, sales and ticket numbers and ingress numbers and, the weather and all this kind of stuff across the board. Now it's just, we're getting more and more data points, right? So the data's larger, it's more real time. You're not waiting for nightly processes. There's things that are, happening literally in split seconds. And so that's part of the journey that's been really interesting and wonderful to see. And then also the competitive side. I think this is actually one of the things that's really fascinating to me.
It's super fascinating. Yeah.
Is, 10, 15 years ago, people thought they couldn't quantify soccer. This is impossible. Yeah. All the coaches came and said, we're not going to be able to put this. And now we're seeing all these data, all this metrics that's coming out of soccer, whether it's, miles run or, speed, transitional speed, passes forward in the attacking third, right. Et cetera. There's so many different metrics that, teams now put into play. Scouts are looking for, coaches are, using as coaching tools, and tactics are being built off of. And so that for me is really interesting. On the soccer side of the house or competitive side.
Exactly. Well, I'd like to commend whoever was hired you 25 years ago, because as you mentioned, to be hired then and live and be able to elastically grow with all that's been changing and put before all of us, it takes a capacity, it takes an interest, it takes a heart, and they've chose well.
I appreciate it. So,
yeah, I was thinking about the analytics when you were talking about that, as well as you see a lot of times in a match. We call them matches. Where the position that player was, where they've spent most of their energy, right? Yeah. So from a coach, you've got positional coaches, right? And you're trying to understand how you can perfect and maybe in one game's focus, but also the evolution of the entire what I'm trying to do with my team. You've got the coach's perspective, head coach's perspective. And if you've done the training, if they're doing the right motions and movements, not so robotic, but in the right areas, reading and feeling the play, switching things, moving things, making the runs, like you've done a good job at that baseline. Then it's a matter of just getting some production in the back of the net, right? That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of analytics will come forward, which will be the next level, like you're talking about. There's player, attraction. I want to bring players to us. So that's the culture you guys are creating. There's the skills I need to provide to my team as I lose a good player and gain another player and decide who I'm going to have be my designated. Culture of that too matters, because you can't just bring a guy in.
Right.
We've seen that fail with teams when you bring a superstar in, it doesn't fit your culture. It doesn't make you better. But, all that comes forward. You see the passion on the field when you watch a game. I'll tell you unequivocally, most of my customers, not soccer. Right? They're not in, they come to a match, they love it. And they want to be like you did with your family in Columbus. They bring their families because the game experience is so unique.
Right.
You don't find it in other soccer stadiums, but they don't have to understand it. Like you go into a hockey match, you don't understand that 3-line foul. What's that even mean? Why are they pulling it back? Or you go to a rugby match, same thing. It's like, what? How's that a problem? Right. And soccer, you don't have to know it. You just have to experience and enjoy what's going on.
Yes.
There's that pesky thing called the offside rule, but other than that, right?
Rule, but you get people out there with flags. You trust that they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
But seeing the emotion. We also have done a game up in Seattle because it's the main rivalry, besides Vancouver that Portland has, and hosted up there for our Seattle clients. And they now want to be at that match. And we have a real push of supporting the Timbers. And we've done a nice job of being a good Timbers fans up there. So people know that we're doing the job. But it's always great to see that rivalry the traveling team, the Timbers Army, does a really good job coming in as well. Although they put you way far away from the game field. But they're still there before and after and long term. So you see that passion, that culture. And I think when it comes to, like you said, with technology and what we're trying to do from a business and what we're trying to serve, we get involved with that. Like I get involved with the players and where they go and what movement they're having and who's successful and who's injured and why they injured and when they're going to come off injury. That's all analytics as well. Right. But we talk about it in all of our calls. We do regular calls with you guys at Acronis, and half of it's me teaching them who the players are. Okay, see this picture? Who's that jersey number? All right, they got that down, and I think that works really nice to see people get impacted in that. So.
Yeah. I think there's no better saying than just get stuck in.
Get stuck in,
right?
That's good.
Yeah. No, I think that I think you hit it. It's that amazing combination of passion from the players, passion from the fans. Passion from the staff here. The support organization is amazing here, both on the soccer and the business side. And it's ultimate teamwork, right? I mean, that for me is I think, another huge benefit of just seeing when things come together, like, all the pieces that are doing that. And whether that's the Timbers team playing, whether that's us putting on a major concert here at the stadium, so many people behind the scenes are working hard to make that successful.
It takes all that circus to make it all happen. And they all have been coordinated and determined how to get it done. And that's your pressure too, is if something in the middle of all that snaps, you're able to address it right away, get it up right away and move forward.
Absolutely.
And, that minutes are important at that point.
Having that plan A, that plan B, that plan C, that plan D is really important for us, right? And so that is embedded in every thought process we have, right? And it's something I teach my staff all the time is, okay, great. So now tell me kind of what the plan B is here. Even if plan A is working, show me plan B.
Have it rehearsed, practiced.
Exactly.
That's good.
Absolutely. And that's where I think that, like we talked about the Acronis platform, it does give you that plan B and that plan C, right? So it's huge.
So I'll do a little bit on my personal side, right? So born in Portland, stayed in Portland, played soccer all my life since I was 5, played at University of Portland, played with Clive Charles my last year, and played on the U23 team, which he had invented to keep kind of see what kids are coming in and keep kids happy they're leaving out. But got to play in real life. I got to play with Jim Kelly and, John Bain and all these characters. They were a little older than I were. They were born in 55. I'm born in 64. So they had little years ahead of me, but just fantastic. McHoban, the Benson after games, the accessibility. The Timbers always had this local Portland focused accessibility. Then the real thing that you realize later is they all stayed in town. When they first started here, they all were homed to somebody else. Like one player, I'd go stay with that person and home. Like they didn't know how long they're going to be here. Right. Well, just like you see with Valeri, it's like you get here and you want to stay here. You want to grow your children up here, go to school here. That's a testament to Portland.
True.
But then when they did stay here, most of our Jimmy Conways and all those guys ended up coaching. They developed the youth program in the Portland area, which if you play, we all got benefit from that initial team. Yeah. And really America got that benefit because MLS across America had that come in. And then the indoor soccer to Pride and those kind of things. So I played for them for a short bit. But the point of it was like having that cultural come in. I met Jimmy Kelly years later, like in 93, 94, and he was still in town and he was working in the same building I was building. I had my first company at that time, and he was doing the jerky companies, just like you have the smoking. He was doing all the acrylic displays and all the different stores you ever had. And he had this great piece. And I happened to walk by and I see this ghost. I'm like, I know who that guy is. That's my favorite player, right? Clyde wasn't my favorite player. Jimmy Kelly was my favorite player. I played left wing back then. And he's just walk up to him. He's a super nice guy, be able to be like approachable. Like you don't realize, how approachable these guys really are.
So,
Graham Day and Peter With and all these guys. Wait, these are old names, by the way. But sitting there, my dad would bring my brother Tom and I to every game, and we would watch the games and care what the weather was. We got to see, the away games kind of was on TV, on radio. We listened to a lot of times because those games weren't here, and it's against St. Louis when we won those guys. And then when Pele came to town and we got to see that whole piece happen, that was a really cool piece of history. And, just kind of just watching that go forward. So we've had a lot of success in loving soccer that way.
right. Yeah.
And then, like we had the celebration for the Timbers of 50th, seeing the championship team there, but also then it's recognizing the next night, the older players, the original players, quite not all originals, but most of them were originals. They've been around that test of time and the honor, Ring of Honor that's out there. Right. So I still think there's some more names to be on that Ring of Honor, but we'll see how they decide to work that out.
Exactly. Now it's a deep history. I mean, 50 years is a long time.
You brought up Civic Stadium. That's when, we were playing in Civic Stadium back in those days, and that being a historic piece for Portland.
Yeah.
I love the photo you guys had with Easter morning, Civic Stadium. Everyone's on their hands and knees in their dresses, pushing eggs with their noses across the entire field. Like that's cool stuff. It's seen it all,
right?
Yeah, little dog tracking and a little bit of baseball. We used to come with the Beavers, the Bebos, the Mavericks, all those groups. We came to all those things. So it's been a piece of history here. And people who come from outside the town don't realize the history of it. So bringing that to bear, like we have a park we plan, right?
Yeah, truly. Yeah.
Not a field house, not a field, not a stadium. Yeah. It's ours. It's dedicated for soccer. So that's always very impressive. But yeah, the partnership with the Timbers and Acronis has been excellent, and I love it. Yeah. I'm going to make them get you somewhere tropical here real soon.
Hopefully during the winter.
It'll be January.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah, I think, when we talk about how data is important, to the organization, I think it, it's really the lifeblood of kind of everything we do, both on the soccer side and the business side as well. And protecting that data, securing that data is extremely important to us in every aspect of what we do, whether that be, physical assets, digital assets, cloud-based assets, and then working with our staff as well. And something that might be a breach, to that could affect competitiveness on the field and the competitive aspects of the first team. It could ask, our business operations on game day. Could throw that into and one of the things that I worry about the most is fan data, right? It's really sensitive information.
That's a good point.
So, fan data and medical information, all these kind of things are things that we're constantly looking at. How do we go ahead and protect that, secure it, make sure that those that need to be utilizing it, have that opportunity to go ahead and do it, but that is protected.
Because there's a other half of that data that could be misused.
100%. Right. Yes. Yeah. It's, the proverbial double-edged sword. Right. And I think, this is one of those things that when we look at that protection is making sure that's protected in all aspects, right? Both in the cloud, at the endpoint with the end user, and then in the backup realm as well. Right. Yeah, so that encryption for us is really important for us. So we want to make sure that's a kind of an end-to-end encryption across the board. And that data is being secured, so that, at any point, if a bad actor basically got a hold of it, that it would be something that would be unusable for them at that point.
Exactly. So that's a big responsibility.
It is.
And it has, you couldn't do it by yourself. That's why you need teams and partners and products to make that happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
I think you have to, your side of it is I'm creating this strategy and my strategy includes all these aspects. And I have to make sure it's always, nothing leaks out the side or the bottom, whatever. It all stays contained within. And I could, again, go to bed at night or take in front of a council or board that this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. Right. So Acronis is a great partner for doing that.
100%. Yeah. And as partners, It's our staff, right? I mean, it's, from a training perspective, but they're the first line of defense of any of that kind of stuff and their behavior, their kind of cyber hygiene, as it were.
Yeah.
But putting those tools in place, putting that model in place, and then kind of that trust but verify method, right? Which is huge, where like we do trust our end users, we do trust our partners. But having that opportunity and a platform that allows us to look across the board to get those alerts it's really important.
Very good point.
Actually, so I got an interesting one. That's for me, it's a favorite moment, but it's actually a moment that I missed seeing a goal happen.
Okay.
So this was in our run. So I believe the same night. Now I'm going to have to go fact check myself, but in our 2015 playoff run, probably my favorite soccer moment was being at the game where we had the double post.
Oh, absolutely.
And shootout, right? I mean, just
I'll fact check you. Keep going. I'll tell you
just being inside of that moment. Right. And it was myself, my son was here. We had an exchange student from Japan and my son's friend. And it was me and I think, basically 3 10-year-old boys.
Yeah.
And as that penalty shootout kept on going longer and longer, we got more incredulous and, somebody would miss. And then you would think, oh no, we're out of this. And then Kansas City would miss. And then we were back in it, and just the highs and lows of this thing as it stretched on. And I kept on getting texts from my wife saying, like, it's really late. You should get the kids home. And I was thinking to myself,
she has no idea the significance of this moment.
We're never leaving. We're never leaving. This could go 40 rounds. And I mean, it felt like it did. I mean, for it to go all the way to the goalkeepers, it was just the absolute capper, right? With course, they just,
he was classic.
Unbelievable. And we're right behind the bench. So we're seeing the emotion on the face of the coaches, and we're just living it there with the whole crowd. That to me has got to be, I think, my favorite moment here in the stadium. But the one that sticks out also in my mind is that earlier in that game, to get us to that point, to get us even to the overtime, is that there was a goal from, I believe it was, because I didn't see it, I believe it was from Aspria, coming up the right with just this amazing kind of cross over into the top corner. And that kind of set us, I believe, on the way to that shootout. And I was grabbing something off the concourse for one of the kids. And I was in line and I didn't see it.
Oh,
because the TVs at the time were old.
So it was the wrong game.
That's it.
Same game. Okay. It's the exact moment. I'm going to color it a little better for you. Okay. Up the right side, the ball gets back out to Aspria.
Yep.
Matthew Rudy had come in the game also at the same while. They both came in as super subs. And Rudy was in the middle, like 7-yard point, right? Yep. And he hits his cross and Rudy puts it on the net. Yep. Right? Yes. Rudy special. That's what he does. Yep. And the fan just went out of control, right? Because we had gotten behind, because they did like it wasn't sudden death. It was like the first portion of the play, they scored. Right. Now we're like desperation. They're playing differently. We're trying to play. And having those 2 subs come on at that moment in time. Yeah. To your point, and you missed that. That's what I know. So I watch Apple TV and I'll watch, that game is one of the ones they've highlighted for you to rewatch if you want to rewatch it.
Oh, yeah.
So I had it on just like 3 weeks ago, and my family had no clue it wasn't a live game. Like they're thinking it's the real deal right now. And they're just riveted. Right. And so with the PK parts as well. And she looks over and she goes, you know how this ends, don't you? Because you're not usually this calm if you didn't know how this ended. Like, this thing was played like a long time ago.
That's right.
And you had us sitting here for 45 minutes watching this game, but it was classic. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Timber stuff. The other one, I wasn't there, of course, was the game you were at, where, Valeri in the first minutes of the game, who's the keeper that we end up picking up later?
Clark.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yep.
Poor guy. I mean, I must be honest. That's like the one you get dunked on kind of in basketball.
It happened so fast. I mean, we're literally sitting in our seats. I think we'd just gotten there, from grabbing something out the concourse, and we're sitting down, the 4 of us as a family. And the first seconds of the game start off, right? So it's got the pomp and circumstance of the MLS Cup final. So you're kind of watching that, and then stuff gets off the field and they start, and we're all just kind of getting situated. And then it was almost out of the corner of my eye, because we're like 100% focused on the field at 27 seconds, and boom, in the goal. And it's like, you can't believe what you're seeing. So
like if they can call back or something happened.
Something, yes. Yeah. And then you just turn to the replay point and you're like, oh my gosh, you see the ball in the back.
So to me, that was
incredible.
That was the magic of Valeri. Like he was always in the moment, knowing what to do in the moment. And he caught Steve Clark at a lapse, right? And the defender played and he didn't play it out and he plays that ball. The next one was it out of bounds or not?
That's
right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, 100%. And I think that you look at actually those two goals, and Valeri in his post-game interview there talked about how Caleb Porter and the staff had highlighted that Clark is sometimes a little bit loose with the ball, right? And again, that comes back to
analytics.
The data part, right, is huge, right? And so that from the coaches to be assessed that from game video, from all these kind of things, from passing patterns, et cetera. That's exactly what you're looking for on the pitch. That just that little competitive edge, and it takes a player like Valeri to take that to heart, and put it in
focus on it, make it happen.
Exactly.
And there's only a moment that would work.
Exactly.
Right.
That was the only moment, right? And then, literally, that brought us the championship up to right there.
It was. I mean, that got us ahead. We ended up winning, 2-0. But the other one where we save it in bounds, Nagby gets the ball, and he brings it in, and the rest of the team kind of sat and stopped because they.
Absolutely.
But the referee, in soccer, as we all know, you play until you hear the whistle, and they all thought obviously it was out and they're going to call it back. And they didn't, and then the cross happened perfectly, and Rodney just went down and headed it low right in the bottom,
laid out for that ball. It was
so good, so good.
Yes.
That's good fun. Yeah. Ronnie Wallace, my neighbors, his wife's mother are best friends with them. So we get to see their kids when they're in town and take care of them and stuff. And we've talked about that play. That's probably that's my best play ever. Yeah. Because that's the best thing I ever did right there. Yeah. I don't know where I played, but that's cool.
Yeah, scoring the game-winning goal. And because I do believe it was 2-1.
Oh, the 2-1?
Yeah. So I think Rodney gets the credit with the game-winning goal.
Yeah, that's good. But that KC game was fantastic.
Incredible. Fantastic.
Yeah. So I think there's so many good matches. We had a match here. The Galaxy were really good at this time. Beckham was playing on their squad. I brought my wife to the game. The only reason she come to the game is because Beckham was on the game, right? And so we're up where you have Tenneridge now. It was just that the club seats, but we're standing. Yeah. And so and it was a summer day, Sunday game, mid-noon game time. And one of the LA Galaxy players gets injured, laid down in the field, so the play gets stopped. Beckham's over on the sideline, right? Close enough to meet where the people get to sit close. And he walks over, and he knows everyone in the ballpark's watching him, right? He walks over, and there's this girl there with a big Pepsi. And he goes over and he grabs her Pepsi. He takes a big drink. He hands it back to her. She's in a stardom role. He goes back out the field, and he's going to be throwing the ball in. He ends up taking his shirt up. Like, he takes his shirt up to where he's just showing it out. And all the ladies in the house just went crazy at that point. My wife's like, I'm not going to another match unless Beckham's going to be there. That's it. That's just sold her. That was done. And of course, Beckham then retires, and I was like, Dave, we're going to have to find something else for you. So, pretty fun times on that one, but that's not necessarily play, but it was, the game itself, bringing that forward.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many stars as part of the game. Yeah. Whether it's ownership or whether it's, within the game itself, and so many stories. That's another thing I really love about soccer is just as you get into it a little bit more, there's just so much, to unpack. And so many, stories about the players and their development, and where they've come from in the world.
Right. No doubt.
So amazing. So
when you look at like Chara get here, he didn't know any English.
Yeah.
Right. Now he speaks it great, and he's just a great fan. Great for the fans and great for the game by a long shot. But seeing when Blanco first got here, how the connection of him and Valeri was so great. And when Valeri first got on the field and you saw him touch the ball, and you're like, oh, this guy's different. This guy's got a feel. And when the defense respects you to stay back, like most time you see in the play, there's right on you, suffocating you down, trying to receive it from you. No, not this guy. Like you see that on the field of play.
That might be another close second for me of favorite goals or favorite moments was Valeri's first goal in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Just this simple line, just little flick. And it was just, at that point, it's just like, you just knew that it's like,
he's next level.
It's like unbelievable. Yeah. Something we hadn't seen in MLS to that point. It was amazing.
I love that too. And there was a few moments I always loved. Blanco had in him to shoot a shot from anywhere, and he made some of those shots.
Absolutely.
And it was like at the last moment, we need a shot and goal and then when he did the Chucky, Chucky head and all that stuff. Asprilla, doing his cartwheel
bicycles and
stuff and
unbelievable
flips and, bicycle kicks, like you said, his energy, out there, his passion out there, and he knew his role and he knew how to make it work.
Yeah.
So it was always great stuff. Rudy, like I said, he did a few of those goals too.
That's
I liked watching Nat Borchers. I'm a defensive player now, so Borchers the whole defensive line back then was so connected.
Great.
And I liked how they worked hard together. They weren't the best, but they were well connected, which made them better.
I 100%, yeah.
So
no, and I love that Liam's now part of our staff.
Yeah, that's super great to see him.
It's a great connection to that area. I thought that was really neat to watch him out there with the 2015 team.
Yeah,
that's
cool. That's a very good point.
Yeah,
very good point.
Yeah, and then Chara as a player being with the 2015 team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of special moments.
It has been. So that's good stuff.
Yeah.